Hey everybody, JCB here at the Awesomist, and you're watching an Awesomist travel vlog. I might have to actually go to the Bahamas for this one. Now this is going to be kind of a strange video. It's part travel vlog, part review. I'm also going to be splitting it up into parts as there's a lot of ground to cover. As I mentioned in my recent channel update video, I got married. June 27, 2015 was a big day, and believe me, it was a big day. Here are some wedding photos if anyone was curious. Shortly after our wedding, we took a honeymoon vacation to the Bahamas. This is officially the furthest I have ever been from home, and long story short, I had a blast. The first leg of our journey was a 2.5-hour drive from our small town to Las Vegas, Nevada, where we would be departing. Here's a photo of me in Baker, California. It's sort of a pit stop town between Las Vegas and LA. The McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas is one of the nicest airports I've ever been to. It has all the trams and people movers you'd expect from a modern airport, but it also has slot machines, as well as lots of restaurants and shopping to do, which is how we spend most of our time waiting for our flight. I should probably mention that me and my wife had some company on this trip. My brother Justin and his wife Michelle accompanied us on our honeymoon, which at first may seem a little strange, but basically we won our honeymoon vacation in a contest that we wouldn't have even entered if not for Michelle.
I'm in the Las Vegas International Airport, heading to our first flight, which is landing in Charlotte, North Carolina, before we head to Miami, Florida, before our final destination.
Don't say that!
We left town on July 3rd, and our honeymoon reservation was from July 4th through the 11th. But first we had a few stops to make in between. Our first flight was a 4-hour red-eye that took us to Charlotte, North Carolina, where we barely had enough time to grab a bagel and some coffee before we were on another flight to Miami, Florida.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
For those passengers in the boarding area going to Fort Lauderdale, we do have first class seats available. If you'd like to upgrade to first class for Fort Lauderdale,
I apologize for the vertical video.
In Miami, we took some time to recharge our phones and decompress before taking a small plane on a 20-minute flight to the Bahamas. Upon landing in Freeport, we filled out our customs forms and took a taxi to our resort. So taxis in Freeport don't look like the typical taxi you're used to seeing here in the United States. They're basically just a late 90s, early 2000s passenger vehicle with a taxi sticker slapped on the door. I have to admit it was a little odd when you get off the plane, go through customs, and then suddenly there's a guy saying, "You want taxi? You need ride? Get in, right here," as if it's some kind of emergency. Suddenly you're in the back of a 1998 Safari that sounds like it's one pothole away from the rear end falling off. I have to admit I had a moment where I wondered if this was a legitimate taxi. Was it just some guy with a van who calls himself a taxi driver? Was this a kidnapper and I just fell for the oldest trick in the book? Thankfully this was a legitimate taxi, which is great because I do not have Liam Neeson's phone number. On a side note, everybody drives on the left-hand side of the road in the Bahamas, as it is still part of the United Kingdom, and there are no stoplights. This is by far my favorite thing. I hate traffic lights. The Bahamas has the right idea. They have stop signs and yield signs, and everybody just takes their turn, so you're never stopped for more than a few seconds. Unlike here, where I spend more time stopped at traffic lights than I do actually driving. From what I saw, the entire island is absolutely gorgeous, but prepare for some humidity. 88 degrees in the Bahamas can feel like 105 anywhere else. And that's no exaggeration. I live in a place that typically reaches 105 degrees in the summer months, but here it's a dry heat. We arrived at the Viva Wyndham about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on July 4th. The cab ride from the airport to the resort was about 10 minutes and cost about $35 for a group of 4 people. That's not bad. This is probably a good place to pause, otherwise this video is going to get way too long. I want to thank all of you for watching. In part 2, I'm going to go through some of the things that were offered in our vacation, as well as some of the problems we encountered along the way, so be sure you stay tuned for that. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and until next time, keep being awesome.